Hello and welcome, this is Silverox, and on today's episode we are going to be making the Destiny Monte Carlo's exotic rifle. Now this is a project I've been waiting to do for quite a long time. It's been sitting on my to-do list with other projects constantly going ahead of it, so I decided to get it done with and put it up on my Patreon. So if you like this and you want to get it for yourself, then go to my Patreon at patreon.com/silveroxcrafts. With only a $2 subscription, you are able to get this and every other project I have done in the past. Also, remember to leave a comment, rating and subscribing to my channel. It helps us a lot. Thank you and enjoy the video. With the introduction out of the way, let's get right to the building process. Like always, these images are here as a reference for you people watching, not as much for me, as I've already been looking through them for the details I'm going to need. And to start off, we are going to start with the biggest piece, and that is the main body of the rifle itself. And that main body is going to be composed of several different pieces. Mostly you can already see the outline of the pieces that I'm going to be making, but the biggest one is going to be the barrel. As you can see, the barrel inside is completely hollow, and that is only going to be until the barrel itself meets the body of the gun. So this entire part is going to be pretty much just a shroud around the barrel, and the top part is going to be hollow. Probably this entire part right here is going to be completely hollow, just so it's easier to build. Or maybe I'll just make it hollow till about the connection point right here. For the rest of this is going to be an individual piece, and then the stock is going to be another. So to start off, cursor to center, create a mesh, any mesh will do. Position the center point, that's going to be around here. Be it going to front view, rotate this, and let me just turn on screen keys. And there we go. Now you should be able to see the key that I'm pressing right here. So we have our basic cube here, square here. The other thing is, you can see that the rifle body itself is all at an angle. So this is completely flat, but it is at an angle. So I'm actually going to have to build the entire thing first before I start cutting it. So let's start with that. Going to have it about here, because this is going to be slanted inward. Same thing for here. This is going to extrude till about this point. This point right here, this should meet at the bottom. Same thing for back here. There we go. Now we can create this slope right here and this one right here. You could also have used the bevel tool, but I actually like doing this way. It's just my way of working with this. So now let's turn on mirror mode on this. I'm actually going to adjust the thickness of the gun later when I do the barrel, because the barrel is the only reference point I have to make this. This is a pure circle, so it's always going to be the same size no matter what. The same shape, sorry, not the same size. So now I'm going to select these and rotate it slightly. Make sure clipping is on. No, the angle is still not enough. At least not for what I want. So once again, select all the sides there. Angle it just a little bit more. Let me see about the the angle is pretty much right about here. I'm not going to overdo it. So H, select everything, and vertices. Oops, not vertices, faces. because that outline has to remain so that this remains as well. Now from here we have to decide at this point what we are going to do, and I am actually going to start cutting it by selecting K. Control. Well, you didn't see what I did, but I click Control R. That creates a cut right there. And if you click only once, if you click only once, you can actually move it around without distorting the shape you are working with. So it's going to be about there. It's going to be about there. No, I can't do that because that will distort the shape since it's now at an angle. So I'm going to cut it manually. Now what you don't want to do is leave it like this, because when working with Pepakura it's actually very picky with what you are doing. So what you are going to need to do is make sure that at the very least everything is at either a triangle or a square. Just making sure that everything is fine. Actually, going to do it this way. And now I'm going to select this entire edge right here, put the cursor on this side and press the wiki, and there we go. This now splits the entire thing. Shift H to hide everything, and if you put transparency on, you can actually see the outline of everything you have in here. So I can actually manipulate this just to give it a slight separation between the two pieces. There we go. Alt H to bring everything back. And there we go. God damn it. There. Control L, H. Now we have the front part. So I'm just going to be separating all the pieces like I just did for this one, and fixing everything so that I don't have any shape that is more than at very least 4 vertices. So I'll be speeding to that one. Okay, the basic body work is now done. So to continue from here, I actually going to make the barrel assembly so that I have somewhat of a reference on what to do from this point forward. So let's start by creating that one. F6, align to view. I'm going to keep it at 10. Going directly into edit mode, and this is going to be about the size of my reference right here. There we go. And this should give me this where I need to make the proper spacing for this. As you can see, there's quite a bit of spacing right here, and there's going to be quite a bit of spacing right here as well, since this is actually going to extrude forward like this. I will have probably like this would be fine. There we go. I'm actually going to finish this. This is obviously going to extrude all the way to the back right here, and of course close it off. Now I'm actually going to do something different. I'm actually going to make a barrel on the inside as well. So to do that, finish extruding this forward. That's extrude pulling it. This is going to have a little bit of an incline to it, and there we go. That is going to be about the size of a barrel right here. Let me check the reference just to be sure. Yeah, that's about it. And this is going to be extruded all the way back. Scale it on the y-axis, and that is going to flatten it out. And now we are going to press space, type bridge, and it should appear bridge as loops. There we go. And that is the barrel assembly fully done, at least until I finish doing the body, as then I have to go back in and add these support pieces. Now I'm considering adding these. Now I actually going to extrude these from the barrel itself later on, but for now I actually have to complete the body work. Since I have the barrel as a reference, I can now finish it. To finish, that is going to be easy. Just delete this. The only ones I'm going to need to create that bridge is going to be these two pieces. So all of the others I can just discount. This all the way over here. This is actually going to merge like this. Actually, I should have done this as well. So this is going to be pretty much the basis. Later on I'm going to be adding the support for the bayonet, I think that's how it's called. Now what I'm going to need is select these. These are going to extrude forward like this. This is going to extrude downward. I don't believe I'm not getting off shape. So I can pull these slightly down and these to close it, and that should form that shape right there. Maybe even like this. There we go. Let me check the references. These to bring everything back, as this curve is not. Oh wait, I'm seeing it in a different view. Yeah, that should be about alright. As later on I'm still going to be add the rest of the stuff in. Obviously this piece is going to need to close completely. So this. There we go, that should be okay for now. This entire thing, goddammit words, they are so hard to use sometimes. I'm going to have to extrude this all the way back right here. And this is going to be the basic shape for this. So now I'm going to finish this part. and then I'm going to be working on the top piece right here, as this one is actually much more simpler to finish than the other one. So I'm going to be doing that in another. So that's pretty much it for the main body. It is now fully complete. So this is a piece I'm not going to be needing to touch anytime soon. As for the barrel, I still need to finish that one, and for that I am actually going to be adding the support pieces that are going to center the barrel where it's currently standing. So I'm going to be adding about here. Yeah, it goes somewhat into the barrel itself, and I'm just going to be adding another one back here. And now I'm going to select, I'm going to select these and these. Going to front view, E to extrude, S, Z, and separate them. Now I'm going to flatten them out by pressing S, Z, 0 and enter. Doing the same for the bottom, 0 and enter. Now bringing everything back. I'm actually going to need to make sure that these are just about right with the surface that is going to be mounted to. So that should be right there, that right there. Of course I want to always add a little bit of spacing, because there's also a spacing here, so it's good to make sure that your pieces should be able to fit. There we go. Instead of at the last minute recognizing that there's parts colliding and you actually can't do anything about that to fix it. So at this point I'm going to go to the second largest piece, which is going to be this part. Now this is actually slightly easier to do, as this is completely flat all the way through. There is no actual angle to this. So once again, exit that, select the main body, cursor selected, and add another cube this time. It doesn't really matter, I'm just going to end up deleting it. And this is going to be just slightly shorter than the valve itself is. So this should be pretty much it. There we go. Obviously going into edit mode, extruding this, deleting that, extruding this. Actually I shouldn't be doing it this way, but I'm gonna keep it. No, I can't do it this way, because then I have to leave some spacing to make the bevel, or I could just do the bevel later on. I'm gonna do the bevel later on. I keep changing my mind, sorry about that. This obviously going to go to the bottom. This is going to go here. Now this is not going to be done through beveling. mostly because of the shape it's actually the shape it has. As you can see, it's better to see in this one. It goes through the bevel right here, and this piece, instead of continuing with that one, is going to come out outwards and going to join the bottom of the blade, of the bayonet, sorry. So this is going to be done. You're not supposed to do that. Okay, this is actually going to be done in another way. Obviously, cut this in half, delete that one, we don't need it, and mirror it. Now I'm going to close all the faces. There we go. And now I am actually going to be, sorry about the noise, I'm actually going to be doing this part. Now this, let me see, I want it about here. Later on maybe changes as my references change, so it's not always a set thing. So this is going to be following this line right here, and as always scale it in the UI to make sure that it is flattened on that specific vertex. So if we check the shape of this now, yes, this is what we want, and I know that this is where I'm going to start extruding the shape for the attachment for the bayonet or bayonet. I don't really know how to spell it, to pronounce that correctly. Also because English is not my first language, of course. So that is done. So select everything, extrude it, making sure clipping is on, of course. X, face, normalize all the faces, and now we are going to work on this. Press W, bevel, and that bevel looks pretty much okay for me. That should be about it for this piece. Even though it's a very large piece, it's actually one of the simplest ones to do. I'm gonna add a few cuts here that will make it easier later on to unfold it. So from here we actually should do the blade, so I'm just gonna copy this shape forward right here. And this is where things start going weirdly for me, as my references aren't, I haven't exactly went through a lot of these. So Control L, Shift H, I don't want these pieces. I want that right, wait a moment. Yeah, that's okay, it doesn't need to be very good. Alt H, I'm just going to fix the bevel here, as it's slightly too big for what I need it to be. There we go. This should be alright. Yeah, that's gonna be fine. It's not going to be 100% accurate, but it's going to be fine anyway. So once again, extrude that, and extrude that over there. There we go. That makes that shape. Obviously this, I believe this should merge, and right. No, this actually goes somewhat inwards. It's just simply at the exact same side point. There we go. So what I'm seeing here is I may want to actually widen this part, or I may want to leave it as it is, because this is a very thin piece right here, and in the references the top of the blade itself is somewhat large. So what I may end up doing is obviously finish this part, but I'm going to be deleting that piece right here. Oops. That piece right there. And I'm going to be making the blade a separate piece from this support piece up here. So finish that. Close that. Oops. Shift H, so I'm only working on this one. And there we go. Control N, make sure everything is as it should be. Obviously this is angled towards the blade itself, just like this one is. So now for the blade. For the blade I am going to be selecting this face, duplicating it forward, aligning it with this piece, Shift H to hide everything but what we have selected, and since we can see the outlines of the other pieces I can adjust this just fine. So this goes over here, and this is where it starts to get somewhat tricky, as this piece actually needs to shorten itself, but so does the rest of the blade. So I'm going to do is I'm going to create, like I did before, the blade completely on its own, on a flatten like this, and then I'm going to angle it just slightly. So that was going to be simple. This is a simple outline. This is a typical blade design. Just make the what is supposed to be the body of the blade without doing the edge. The edge is just the last thing you do. And there we go. So now I'm going to need to close all of this up. So let's damn it. I'm going to select this entire line of vertices right here and close it up, so that I have a reference to where I can add more vertices. So I'm going to add one and I'm going to pull it back to about here. The top I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now I'm just going to close these off. There you go. Control N to fix all the faces. So I'm going to need one up top, and that's pretty much the process to fill the entire thing. So add another two over here now, and now we simply extrude this forward. Now I can delete this bottom line, the center line. I can of course do this and do, where's the merge key? Okay, remove doubles, not merge. And now I'm just going to follow the contours of the edge by making sure that the number of vertices on the inside is the same on the outside. That is going to make it easier to put all of the pieces together later on. Sorry, to merge the two later on. Let me check something else. Yeah, it pretty much ends at the triangle at the bottom, as it seems right here. So I'm just going to be doing like this because there's a small edge that goes throughout the back, so I'm assuming that this is not going to be a bevel surface, but it's going to be simply the blade that goes all the way to the back like that. So bring everything into view, delete that one, and there we go. That's the blade done. So go into front view, select that. What I'm going to do here is to avoid distorting this surface right here. I'm going to select it, cursor to the selected, and wait, let me select everything, and there you go. Then press the period key, and that period key makes it so that everything is rotating around the vertex you have selected, and of course depending on the view you have selected. So I'm going to rotate it till about like that to give it, let me see, okay, this view is much better, and I believe I'm going to keep it this way. So remove that, and yeah, that's going to be nice right here. So obviously now press the period comma key to remove that and scale this, as the orientation was actually distorted, as you can see once we mess with it. But just going to delete these. Once we mess with the orientation, it actually went out of whack, but it's actually a very simple thing to fix. And there we go, everything's fixed, everything's visible, and the Monte Carlo is actually coming along quite fine. And I didn't even speed through this part, as this was a very simple part. Once again, this is probably going to be far too big for a piece of paper, so I'm just going to add a few cuts in the middle to facilitate later on the unfolding process. So at this point there's only a handful of pieces to do. That's going to be the grip, the stock, the shoulder rest for the stock, and the top assembly rail with the sights on it. The sights themselves are mostly ornamental, but that should be quite easy to assemble. This piece, once again, quite simple to assemble. It's just one solid piece with a few cutouts in the middle and a lot of beveling to do on it. The thing I maybe I want to is add these cuts right here. So I'm gonna shoot. If I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna think about it. If I did, you will immediately see me doing a time lapse on that. If I'm not, I'm just gonna start talking about the grip. So wait a minute for that. Well, after having pausing it and thinking it over, I decided, well, since I always do everything as nearly as complicated as possible, might as well do this as well. So yeah, there you go. Added that extra small detail that's probably just going to make everything more complicated to build, but there it is. So to the last part of the main body, which is going to be the grip, which is a very thin piece compared to the rest of the gun. So same process, cursor selected, another cube, go directly into edit mode. Now let me just check what scale I'm going to, yeah. As you can see, there's quite a bit of spacing between the pieces right there. So this should be fine to start off as. Wait, sorry. Delete that, add mirror, always add a mirror to this. And just align it with making sure that the spacing between this and that is about the same. Spacing it slightly to the other side. Deleting that as we don't need it. Pulling that over there. This somewhat follows the contour of out here. Yeah, that should be fine. And now No, I'm actually going to delete this, as I'm going to be following the inside instead of the outside first. So simple process, simple to achieve, like this, all the way to the bottom, right, like that. Later on I'm going to be making sure that the bevel is on, but for now it's going to be kept like this. So that all the way over there, all the way over there. Make sure that these two are aligned, so scale Y0 and enter, they align, and press F to join them. Now they are joined. Now pull one vertex over here and start working on this part. Like the rest, the inside is beveled. As you can see, there's a slight bevel to it, but the bevel isn't uniform all around it, so I'm going to be doing it by hand. Probably the worst part is going to be right here, as it's a very thin surface to work, but it shouldn't be much of a problem. So press C to extrude it inward. And yeah, there we go. The bevel would have not have ended perfectly, as a lot of these pieces still needed to be orientated properly. The bottom part seems fine, this part seems okay, and now this is going to be like this. Clipping is on, and now I'm going to check the amount of space that's in here, and I'm going to make sure that this has the same amount of space, and that this is still a decent, yeah, I should keep it like this. This is about where the thickness of it is going to go. Then you have to realize, as you are building these things, the perspective you have is probably going to change several times. So one time you say, ah yeah, this is perfect thickness, and another you go, no, I'm actually going to need to change some other part of this gun completely. So don't be afraid to simply go like this and, oh, you know what, I don't like this, and delete it. Don't be afraid to do that. It's just something that happens sometimes while doing these type of things. And yeah, I'm just gonna fill everything up, and then I have to do what is going to be the trigger. As you can actually see the trigger in this one, and the bevel. So that's actually very simple, so I'm going to speed through that as well. There we go. The grip is created, finally done. I added these small decorative pieces. They just look like support bolts on the actual model itself. So that's done. So all we need to do now is the rail and the shoulder support. So once again, the same process we have been doing this entire time. Just making sure this should be slightly thinner than the rest of the thing, the body. Just making sure that this is properly aligned. There we go. This extrudes to the bottom. And as for the shape, it just seems that at the bottom it goes slightly thinner than the main part, so just add a cut loop right here, one right here, and this, scale it on the x-axis, delete that as we don't need it, and add a mirror to this. There we go. This is a start for the stock, shoulder rest, whatever you want to call it. At this point I'm just going to be adding small pieces like this. There we go, this is perfect. I'm going to add two right here in the middle, add a cut right here, and then I'm going to use the cut tool to make these. So obviously delete these as we don't need them. Now select the entire thing, extrude it inward, and of course, god damn it, my keys aren't working now. Just do it like this, like that. Alt H to bring everything back. Just realigning this piece, realigning these. No, I'm not gonna go like that, and this is about it. Clipping must always be on, and delete the face we just created, Ctrl N. There we go. This is one of the pieces that I'm going to be making, and the other one is even a simpler piece. So just duplicate one of the vertices and outline the inside of the entire thing you just made. It should collide right there, and it should collide right there. Control L, SY0 and enter to make sure proper scale. Hide everything but that. Just fixing some of the vertices here, so this is actually as good as we are going to keep it. And there we go, that should be enough to finish it. There we go. Select everything, extrude it forward, unhide everything, fix the facers, and there we go. That's the entire thing done. I'm not going to be doing this as it would actually, I'm just going to make it slightly, Control L. There we go. It's not as round as the actual in-game model is, so it actually looks a lot cubier than it should be. But this should be fine by now. This should fix it. And I want to add that small detail in. Even though I shouldn't, I still want to do it. So you know what? I'm gonna do it. Cursor selected, circle, F6, align to view. 8 should be fine. Do it like this, side view, go inward. Like that. Delete that vertex, delete that vertex. Close this. delete that because the viewer is on. Control N to fix the faces. There you go. A needless detail that I needed to add because I just wanted to. That's pretty much the gun done, so all we are missing is the rail inside assembly. So the rail is actually going to be the most intricate part of the entire thing. As you can see, the rail is a very basic shape, it's not complicated at all, but the problem is all of these small cuts I'm going to be adding them in. Now I'm not going to be adding the teeth pattern on the top because that's going to make it extremely hard to make, and besides you can't see it from the sides either, so I'm just going to leave that as it is. But I will be adding the cuts right here. Now once again, the shape of this is just going to be these two small rounded bits that are going to be protruding from this, so delete that, add mirror. Let me see if, yeah, this is at the right height right there. So it's going to be like this, 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 and clipping on. There we go. Yeah, this should be about the proper size for this. Extrude it back, and I believe that looks fine for what I'm going to be doing. Yeah, definitely, I believe that's perfectly fine. So now, old age is everything but what we are working with. There we go. What I'm going to be doing here, I'm going to extrude this only until this edge right here is done. So I'm going to extrude like this, and I'm going to be cutting it at that angle because that angle is going to be repeated over and over and over again, and then it's going to be inverted at the back here. So what I'm going to be doing here is, first of all, close these, close that off, close that off, close that. Now it's not closing. Why? There we go. For some reason this didn't go through. Actually, I'm not going to be doing that part now. So here I'm going to extrude it forward one and another. Remove levels, everything removed. I'm going to be removing this face, and I'm going to be, there you go, pulling this inward like this. Add this cut right here. And I'm just going to align these as SX 0 and enter. And of course, closing them. Now here what I could do is use the array modifier that would allow me to duplicate this all the way to the end, but this is zero. No, there we go. Since I will only need to duplicate this part right here, it wouldn't work. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be duplicating the centerpiece. This is going to make it slightly harder to make everything by hand later on, but the alternative is actually making only this piece new array modifier, and then once it's done I actually have to redo it down the corners, and well, I just don't want to. It's as simple as that. And I just figured out something. I actually don't have this properly done, because let me just remove these. I need this face to extrude forward. Delete that one. Something, okay, I messed up somewhere. Of course I did. These aren't actually supposed to be closed. These are. There we go. I messed up there. Sorry, that was my fault. So there we go. Now I'm going to speed through this, make it as fast and a time lapse, so you don't have to watch this me going through the entire trouble. Oh, seriously, you know what? That was actually more trouble than it was worth. I should have just used the array modifier, then applied it, and then changed the end bits to match what I needed them to be. But well, that is that, and I actually finished the rail. And for the amount of cutscene, that this should be pretty simple to export into a Pepakura file. So the final process now is to make the sides. The sides are actually not as bad as they seem. From here, all you need to do is have a surface that goes around the rail. The half circle, extended half circle, that's going to be pretty much the shape of the sides, and then you just need to cut it to match the outside. That's not that complicated to do, and the front one is even easier. It's just a surface going all around the side, the rail, and then a protruding surface on the middle. So that's incredibly easy to do. So from here, just of course make sure that we have only one vertex to work with, add a mirror, and just create a surface with a considerable amount of space, so it doesn't actually jam when you try to put it together. So that's it. Now just put it at the entire runway right here. I'm going to leave it like this, and then I'm going to cut it as I need it, And now I'm going to cursor selected and add a circle. Instead of an 8, I'm going to put a sand circle. Now you know what, I want a flat surface, so I'm going to 10. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at 10, it doesn't really matter much. So this circle should be about here, making sure that it's not colliding with anything. Once again, just extrude it all the way forward. Control L, pull it down just slightly. Yeah, that should be fine. And now I need to create the sides, and the side is going to be a flat surface. Put it there, making sure that clipping is off. It's going to be about here. There we go. There we go, align these. This is going to be curved inward, so I'm going to finish this part right here. Control L Shift H. And this is just going to be like this, Alt H. About here, there we go. SX0 and enter fixes that. It may look like a mess now, but trust me, this will actually be perfectly doable. So what we are going to do, Control L, select this. I'm going to make it slightly bigger, about there, so that the walls are actually going to be thinner. So delete that, and that goes all the way up here, past the point where our main body is going to be. So I'm just going to be completing that part right now. There we go. And there we go. So what we are going to need to do now is, one, we are going to need to fix this part right here, as this is going to need to accompany the lines that are from this part, and of course the main curvature, I think that's what we would call them, is actually going to need to be cut as well. So let's start by doing that. I'm gonna add a loop right where this is going to be, and to make sure that it is properly aligned, do it like that. Next, this all aligns to the same point. It doesn't need to be cut in any way, shape or form. Going to need to add one right here, and of course we are going to align it so that there's less stuff for us to do later. Same process here. Align everything we can so that we can just do this. Oh, of course, I forgot I created a full circle, and as you can see, these parts are actually already, if I can choose them, there we go. You can see these are actually already done. So I'm just going to need to pretty much do that for the entire thing, and we'll be done with the back sides, and we need to move to the front sides. And that is it. The Monte Carlo Destiny exotic rifle is now complete. So all I need to do now is export this into Pepakura Designer, unfold it, transform it to PDF file, put it up on my Patreon, where you will be able to download it for yourself. Of course, do support me at my Patreon, it helps out and out. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I expect you to be here the next time.